Hello, hello, hello. I do believe we are live. All being well. That's just a notification to say that, yeah, we've gone live. So far, so good. Let's just check the stream on here. See what's going on. And hopefully we'll be in business. Live stream 14. Oh yeah. Very good. Live stream 14. Cool. All my checks done. Hopefully we'll be alright. Evening Stu. Evening Gary. Good to see you both here. Oh dear. I don't know about you two, but I am cold. Even with the central heating on. My hands and my feet are cold. It's really, really bad out there at the moment, isn't it? I can't believe how cold it is. I don't think many people will have actually been fishing this week. You'd be lucky if your lakes aren't sealed. Aid, evening mate. Good to see you. I'll ask anyway, just to see if we get an answer, but have any of you actually been fishing? Obviously my answer is no, because as you know, over recent weeks, I'll just confirm that my nearest water is over 20 miles away, and I literally can't go. So until they have a review and start lifting restrictions, I'm kind of stuck. Too cold for fishing. You're right, Gary, it is. Yeah, I mean, we can't night fish anyway. You can only do days. No, Stu. No, I didn't think so. It's not good, is it? I'm still quite easy with it. The last time I fished was the 30th of December last year, just the day before New Year's Eve. I had to work on New Year's Eve, and the last day I fished was the 30th of December, and then before I could get out again, they chucked us into lockdown, and that was that. So I think it's 6 weeks now, something like that. 5, maybe 6 weeks. I'm not quite sure. It's one or the other. But I'm okay. Just the days are blending in together. There's no. I don't seem to find as much difference between the weekday and the weekend. I'm still working, but it's Groundhog Day. That makes sense. Just eat, sleep, work, eat, sleep, work, eat, sleep, work, and it's like that most days now. So I just can't get my head together. I'd like to be able to go fishing. Yeah, Gary, I'm in the same boat as you, mate. No local waters for me either. Actually, I have. I've got a couple of waters which you would class within travelling distance, but they're commercials. Just little ponds, commercial ponds, I would call them. And not the greatest places to go fishing. Plus it'll cost you money. I've spent I don't know how much I've spent on tickets this year. 300, 430, 480, about 520 quid on permits this year. So I don't really want to be going to a day ticket water. It's not really the done thing. If you spent all that much money, you don't want to then be forking out a tenner a week or a tenner a day or whatever. So I'm resisting the day tickets at the moment, but I don't know how much longer for. There's going to come a time, especially towards the end of the month, when we're moving into March. I'm hoping they'll let us out when the schools go back, maybe. they're talking of having a review, aren't they, about the, is it 20th, 22nd of February, something like that, having a review. And then they're talking about kids going back to school on the 8th of March. If we can get out again on the 8th of March, that'd be great. If not before, like if they let us out before, brilliant. But they're the days I've got penciled in. And if you don't let us out on the 8th of March, then I'm going to go for the day tickets just to get myself out so I can get some fresh air. So that's where I'm up to, just basically in this holding pattern of wait. And I don't see what else I can do till then. I don't know how you guys are going to get on with that. Whether you've got somewhere local and you're ticking over, great if you have. If you haven't, then I'm afraid you're in the same boat as me, aren't you? Alright, Ian. Them pop-ups look nice, Ian. The fluoro DNA ones. Can you say what the deal was that you got? Because you said you got a deal that was too good to refuse. It'd be interesting to know what that deal was. Because I'm on DNA myself, like I've got 10 kilos of them just behind me out of sight, tucked away in a bucket. 10 kilos of S7, which I've had since, I think I bought it about April or May last year, something like that. So I've still got most of it. I've only really used like, I got 2 tubs of pop-ups as well, like, and I've used like a few of the pop-ups, not many. So virtually every fish I've had on it has just been the single hook bait. And they certainly seem to work. And I'm confident enough in it, like it's good stuff. But I'd be interested to know what your deal was. You certainly seem to have a few tubs of pop-ups there. Stu, you use S7 in the switch, do you, mate? What's the switch? Is it a fish meal or a bird food? I don't know. I just asked Andy Clark when it came to the boilies he was on, and I knew he was on DNA, and I said, which DNA are you using? And he said S7. But I think he had switch as well, like, but it was the S7 I went for, like, because it was a fish meal. A red fish meal at that. So I'm guessing there's robin red in it somewhere, which is a classic big carp catcher, isn't it? Fish meal robin red, going right back to the days of Premier. Just under 20 quid. Was that for 6? Was there 6 tubs there in that picture? I can't remember. So let me just have another look. I'll have to go back to my phone and have a look. Let's have a look. Ian. Photo. I'll just have a nose now. Yeah. It's funny that once you send the photo to someone privately and you've watched it, it doesn't show up again. 5. Oh, there you go, I don't need to look. 5 tubs for 20 quid. Five tubs, 20 quid. £4 a tub. That's not bad for pop-ups. And let's be honest, DNA are making a fortune on that price, aren't they? 5 tubs for 20 quid. Evening, Rob. I still think pop-ups, tubs of pop-ups and wafters are some of the biggest scams in carp fishing. They really are. And the bait companies make an absolute fortune out of anglers on them. It's just ridiculous. it takes, you know, a kilo of boilies and a kilo of pop-ups. It's got the same ingredients in, and it takes the same amount of time to roll it. So, you know, you can roll a kilo of boilies in the same time as a kilo of pop-ups, and it's cost about the same. You know, give or take a few ingredients, like, because obviously the pop-ups got different ingredients in, but they cost roughly the same to produce. But a kilo of boilies goes for what, £6.50 if you're on an offer. Anything up to 12 or 15 quid in the shops for a kilo. But a kilo of pop-ups divided down into tubs of like 40 or 50 a tub, well, that 7 kilo of bake goes for about 50 quid. Or is it 50 times as much? I'm not sure. Someone did tell me a formula for it, but I can't remember. But it costs an awful lot more money, the pop-ups, than the over boilies. Switch has a meaty smell, not a birdseed mix. Good for winter, very digestible. Right, okay, Stu, yeah. If it's a meaty one, that's fine. I just wasn't sure, like, because I've not really been on their website, like I said. I just asked Andy which one should I get. So, and it was a year ago, nearly a year ago since I bought mine, like I still haven't used it. But I got ready-mades, because the ready-mades and the frozen, there's not much difference between them these days. So mine are all ready-made and still sealed in the bag. I don't even think I've opened them yet. I'm still using up the last of my Scopex squid from Nash. So until that's gone, like, I won't start on the DNA. Got to get rid of the Scopex squid first, and I reckon I've got about 4 or 5 kilos of that left before I start. So, and you know me and boilies. Once the weather warms up, I'll be using some of the bags of chickpeas that are behind me, or getting something else to do a video on. So once the weather warms up, I won't be using boilies that much anyway. They do seem like good baits, that DNA stuff though. And like I said, I've used it this year. I've always had it on one rod most sessions right throughout the year, and I've caught well on it. PB pop-ups. Not sure what they are. Mine are corkers. There you go. Corker pop-ups. In Secret 7. That's the tub I haven't used. As you can see, it's full to the brim. They are 12 mil, I think. I think they're 12 mil. Yeah, 12 mil, yeah. And they're all right, the corker pop-ups. The other tub, I got 2 tubs. The other one's in with my boilies down there. In with I have a few tubs of pop-ups and wafters in my bag or in my bait bucket, and this is just a spare one that's knocking round. But I tell you what, they're very buoyant. Those corker pop-ups, like crikey, they take a bit of weighing down. Pineapple and banana. There's a classic if ever there was one, pineapple and banana. That's an old NutriBaits favourite, that from years ago. Pineapple and banana. I caught a few 20s on the old NutriBaits combination years ago. Good bait. Good bait and a good flavour. Although I'm not sure what pineapple they're using or banana in their baits compared to Nutri's. milky malts. Andy's mentioned them as well, milky malts. Again, I'm not really sure what they are. Blank saver. What, pineapple and banana? What's that, Stu? It's the Nutribates flavours, is it? Yeah. Oh, right. Okay. So the DNA pop-ups, pineapple and banana pop-ups, are based on Nutribates flavours. Is that right? Good combination if it is. No, mate, DNA. Do you know what? I'm watching my own live stream here on the other computer, and the it's coming up quicker on there than it is on here. I don't know. Am I even moving, by the way? I'm sure you can all hear me, but am I actually moving? I am on the camera, but I'm not on anything else. It just seems to be still. Screen's frozen. Right, okay. I think I know how to stop that. Hopefully. I think the freeze up thing might be a bandwidth issue, because I'm watching my own live stream. So I've switched the what I'm watching off, and I'll just wait and see if it comes back on again. I don't know. But yeah, it does seem to be frozen. Never mind. I can't really, because we're like 15 minutes into the live stream, I can't really stop it and start it again, so I'll just have to carry on and hope that it sorts itself out. There's got to be a way to make it work. Never mind, as long as you can hear me. Yeah, screen froze. Bugger. Does flavour really matter in the question? Would a rank flavour to us, like dragon fruit? Would a zero flavour yellow bait just work? Swings and roundabouts, Danny, isn't it? Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. It depends whether the fish are sight feeding or going on smell. Personally, myself, like, I don't put much store in colour. I'd go for flavour. I think as long as doesn't matter what colour it is, like, as long as the water's clear, they can see it, and if it's not clear, they need to be able to smell it. So I tend to lean towards smell and not worry about the rest. Flavour is irrelevant when it comes to carp. No, I don't think it is. I generally fish waters that are under pressure, Danny, and believe me, the flavours matter a lot in situations like that. Yeah, screen's froze. I can't do much about the screen freeze. Like, I'm hoping that it comes back now that I've chopped some of my bandwidth use. Like, but we'll see how it goes. It is very strange, especially as the ticker's working. So it's obviously the camera, and I don't know. I'll see if I can fix that. Bright yellow. Yeah, I think everybody gets on well with bright yellow, don't they? Including me. Carp cast with Mark Holmes, yeah. Spod syrup, yeah. How come there was no pink one in the pot, Danny? Is that because you'd used them all, or there just wasn't any anyway? I'm going to see if I can make this camera work. Yes, no, yes, no. Nah, the camera's gone, hasn't it? Nope, it's not having any of it. Used, and that's why you had no pink left. Well, pink's a good colour, mate. Believe it or not, it's one that can be seen quite deep down. It's one of the last to go. You know, when there's a bait test on somewhere on YouTube, like I've seen it before, where they were going deeper in the water and looking at the colour of baits, and as you got deeper and deeper and deeper, one of the ones that still stood out as its natural colour was pink. So maybe that's why they're so good. They can be seen better at depth. Where are we? Bell to the last one. Classic Carp cast 102, I think, mentions some oils. Yeah, I think that's what you've got to do in it to catch your fish these days. You've got to try something different. Yeah, the hook bait. I don't know. I think as long as the fish can see it, Danny, it doesn't matter. Depends how clear the water is, really. If it's quite clear, they can see a bait from further away than they can smell it. So they will home in on it if they see it first, and then as they get closer to it, like obviously they'll start picking up on the smell and taste of it. When you're in coloured water, then obviously you need to rely on the flavours. I don't know, probably not much, Danny. You've got to go for the visual aspect first, haven't you, to pull them down, and then once you get there and you get them into your flavour trail and around your base where they can actually, you know, detect food through chemoreception, then you're gonna get them. You should get your chance. point of view free, you should bring out some Malt Disney pop-ups. Not sure what that means. Well, you could be wasting your money on flavour, yeah, quite possibly. They can see from a long way away. I remember catching a fish on Cape Stonehall years ago, and it was one of the cruises, because the fish cruise up and down on Cape Stonehall, and they're travel in straight lines. And this one fish came onto the shallows where I was fishing. Now I had a tiger nut on, and it was a balanced tiger nut, so it sat on top of the weed, and that fish was going in a straight line, an absolute straight line, and from 3 rod lengths away, which is what, 36 feet, 3 rod lengths, it changed course and went straight to my bait. And I watched it with its back out of the water, because it's only shallow, it's only like 12-18 inches deep on the shallows, and I watched it divert from 3 rod lengths away and swim straight up to my tiger nut and take it. No messing, it's just off it went. I mean, it must have changed direction by about, what, not quite 45 degrees, so it was going one way and it turned virtually through. I know, not 45 degrees, that's like a right angle, isn't it? It's 45 degrees a right angle. 90, 180, 360. Yeah, about 45 degrees. And it swam straight up to my tiger nut and took it from 3 rod lengths away. Now, that point at which it changed direction, it must have seen it. Easily seen it. So yeah, if the water's clear enough, and they see the bait, then I don't think you need to worry about the flavour. The one time I do think a flavour helps is if either if the water's coloured, or if you've got some kind of flavour that goes up in the water and doesn't just like dissipate along the bottom or anything like that. It goes up into the layers like a fish oil. Fish feed inducing oil is a good one for that, and it'll leak off the baits but go straight up through the water column, and then you can pull fish down. Yeah, same with pike oils, waste of money in clear water because it's the sight feeding. Yeah, absolutely, Danny, you need the oils when you're on a water that's murky. Give them something to home in on. It's just making use of their senses. If it's gin cleared or sight, and if it's murky, then you have to rely on their sense of taste and smell. And I think that's the same for all fish, mate, not just pike or carp. Same kind of tactics work for everything. A boilie breaking down is letting food signals to draw them down. Yeah. Mark, what's your thoughts on molasses? Love the stuff. Cheap and available at the local livery. It is, yeah. Get yourself a 5 litre tin. It is, yeah. They use it for horses. They stick it on horse feed. But liquid molasses is brilliant. I used to use it in my baits years ago. You used to have to buy it from NutriBaits, and it was quite expensive until I learned that there's livery, and you can get it from as a horse feed, and you can get like 5 litres for a tenner. I think it was 500 millilitres for about £8, something like that, 7 or 8 quid. NutriBaits were charging, but you can actually buy it in 5 litre tins for a tenner, and that was the end of ever buying NutriBaits liquid molasses again. But it's great, mate. It's like you say, it's soak pellets in it. mix ground bait with it. Mix it into your ground bait. It's excellent. Liquid molasses, good stuff. Yeah, hi Dave. Yeah, getting well abused today. You being here, Dave, just reminded me. I was looking for. I saw an announcement on one of the news channels I watch on the internet the other day that Parlour is on the way back, and I searched for Parlour last night, and there was it just come up to a page saying we'll be back soon, but looks like Parlour's on the way back, mate. I guess they'll need to sort themselves out some servers. Clayton Bigsby ever had sex with fish? No, mate. Do you want to tell us what it's like? Good sessions, weekend, Saturday carp on the feeder, maggots, Sunday over pike. Yeah, at least you're still catching, Danny, and you've got somewhere to go that's not frozen. Not many people have got that at the moment. Most of us are stuck, so enjoy it, mate. In clear water, a popped up bait is better than whacking it full of oils. Yeah, well, the pop up gets seen, doesn't it, from further away? It's more visual, so it's going to score, or it's going to get some interest anyway. Whether they actually take it or not, I don't know, but it'll certainly get found easier in clear water. Yeah, soak it in. Yeah, oh, that's the liquid molasses, isn't it, Rob? Yeah, soak it in. Soak your pellets in it. Soak your ground bait in it. Soak anything you want in it, mate. It's good. Very sticky though. I find it sticks to everything. But yeah, certainly mix it in with your ground bait and stuff like that. I'll cover it on my channel at some point, liquid molasses. And I'll show you what I use it for, and you can see for yourself. But yeah, it's good. It's supposed to be good bait for commons as well. There's always been this thing going round. I think it originated with Tim Paisley in the early 90s, that he reckoned molasses was a really good additive for big commons. Whether that's right or not, I don't know. I mean, I've caught plenty with it, baits in molasses and stuff like that. Like I said, I used to put it in my boilies when I rolled my own, and that's going back early 1990s, something like that. I didn't spot anything to do with commons being picked out or singled out with the molasses. Like it just caught everything, which is basically what you want it to do, isn't it? I'm trying to get this camera to come back on, but I think it's had enough. Can you all still hear me all right? You'll laugh at this. I was out today, the van said temperature -5, wind chill estimated -10. I poured water from a jug of a kettle and I went instantly to slush in the kettle. It's a bit cold. Yeah, I can't say I've had that happen before, Dave, but I have poured water out which has gone and froze. I caught a fish once. It's going back over 20 years now. A mid-double mirror from the River Weaver in Cheshire. 4 inches of snow on the ground and a daytime high of -7. Now that was a daytime high. When I got there in the morning it wasn't -7, it was a lot colder. But I actually caught a fish that day. Everywhere else in Cheshire was frozen. It must have had 4 inches of ice on everywhere. And I caught this fish, and while it was on the unhooking mat, when I picked it up for a photograph, ice was cracking off its flanks. It was literally the water, the wet that was on the fish was literally cracking ice on its flanks like it was unreal. It was freezing, and yeah, I think that's the coldest weather I've ever caught fishing. But I've never had it with a kettle, mate. GoPro didn't show it off very well. When I lifted the net off the unhooking mat, it was frozen in the shape of the cradle. Yeah, well, I've had that before, mate. There's a picture of me somewhere on one of my blogs from years ago, from my winter carp diaries around about 2007, 2008. And my net's frozen solid. I've had a fish, I put it back, the net's frozen solid, and I'm holding the net upside down. And yeah, instead of the net falling to the floor or anything like that, it's just stiff like a board. That happens quite a lot. I've come to the end of quite a few days when I've had to massage my net to get it going again because it's been so cold. It just literally freezes solid. What have I got to do to get this camera back on? Doing me head in. At least you can hear me anyway. That's one good thing. The camera is separate from the video, so I can literally unplug the video camera, and because the screen's frozen, you're not going to know any difference. So it's just a shame that it's frozen. Now I'm actually going to unplug the camera, turn it off, and turn it back on again, because there is actually at the moment absolutely no point in having the camera on. I might as well switch it off and save the batteries if it's not going to go. And it doesn't seem to want to go. Oh. Can you still hear me all right? Am I working? Can't tell if I am or I'm not.
Welcome to the Carp.
Yes, mate, still working, right, okay. Don't quite know how to deal with this, to be honest. Like, I've really got to stop the software, but if I do, I stop the stream, and I don't really want to do that. Not so far into it, like. The ticker's going, yeah. The ticker's, it's not the camera. They're all like, OBS Studio is a mixer, so it's like streaming software. So it takes a feed from the camera, a feed from the microphone, which you can hear, and a separate feed for the ticker. So it kind of mixes them all together and then bungs them out there as a stream, and everything's working except the camera. So I don't quite understand why the camera's gone. Yeah, I burn me hands on the brew. The brew's gone, mate. It's finished. The empty cup's sitting on the side. But I can't do anything about that. I'm not quite sure what I can do to unfreeze this either. Like I've tried stopping the stream, and I've tried starting the stream, and I've tried tweaking the settings and stuff like that, but it's just not having any of it. I've even unplugged it. I've unplugged the camera, the video camera, and plugged it back in again. And because it's frozen, you can't see that I've done that, like, but I'm trying to free it and get it going again, but I'm not having any luck with it. Never mind. I'll as I'm talking, I'll keep trying. That's all I can say. So if you end up losing me and I go south or something like that, you know what's happened. At the moment though, I'm kind of activate. There we go. Have I got it? I'm going to start moving any second now. There you go. And you do as a way to do it. I'm back. Boom. That's right, yeah, boom. Yeah, I just looking at the devices and looking on the screen like, and there was a thing there that said deactivate. So I thought, oh well, I'll press that, see what happens, and then obviously it'll change to reactivate and I'll be able to click it again. So I clicked deactivate, it went black for a second, and then I clicked activate, and here we are. So hopefully I'm back now and we should be alright. I've got a little error from YouTube saying there's not enough bit rates for the stream. Not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Hopefully that'll disappear in time. Certainly it seems to be working a lot better now anyway. Evening, Ewan. Mr. Blue Pike Hunters. How are you, mate? Are you okay? Well, I hope me being frozen for about half an hour hasn't been too disappointing. Evening, Will. Will's Car Fishing Diaries. All right, mate. Good to see you. What's people's thoughts on main line when fishing in or over weed? Pay the expensive branded names, or have people got alternatives? I just tend to use the same line I'd use in any normal situation, Rob. One thing I do like about line is it's got to have good abrasion resistance, and I like a line that sinks. So as long as it's got both of those, it'll sink pretty well, and it's got good abrasion resistance. I don't mind. You don't want one that's going to snap easily. So I don't know whether you've ever seen them. Do you ever log on to the Tackle Box website in Kent? They do line tests and they publish them every year. Yeah, and like Will says, as strong as you can get away with. So if you can go to £18 instead of 15, you know, if you're not casting that far, then you know, you'll be all right. I use Fox Exocet, Stu, for long range. Good casting line, that. Yeah, the tackle box line tests are great because they tell you which ones are abrasion resistant and which ones have you know, won't break easily. So they're pretty good. So they're always worth looking over, like, and you know, study them and have a little gander at them, like, and you can see which lines are good. I still like Berkeley Big Game. I mean, it's donkey's years old now, but I tell you what, it's bulletproof. Right, okay. You've been in isolation, mate. Have you had the Rona? Are you infected? Or has someone around you, you know, you've been in contact with someone who's got it and you've had to isolate? Looking forward to getting back out on the bank soon when everything is frozen. Yeah, have you seen the weather forecast for the rest of the week? It's horrible. It really is. Touchdown. Your parents have had them, but they're fine now. Nice on you, and well, I'm glad to hear that, mate. It seems to Bald Eagle, evening, mate. Good to see you. I don't know how long you've been here, mate, but you've just been looking at a frozen zombie for half an hour. So I managed to get it going again, luckily. Yeah, it doesn't seem to it hits some people harder than others, you and that coronavirus, like, and if they've had it and got over it, then that's good news, mate. I've had my vaccine, as you all know. I think I told you that last week. I've had it about 3.5 weeks ago. So I'm at full defensive strength at the moment, if there's any such thing. You just got on, mate. Right, okay, yeah. Basically, you were just listening to a podcast without me being here. Always having trouble with this software. Every week it seems to throw up some kind of issue. It freezes, doesn't work, has to be stopped and restarted and stuff like that. It's just been a royal pain in the arse. But I like it. Even though it's been a pain in the backside, I still like it because I can mix everything together. I can even put pictures on. If I add sources to the scenes, I can add pictures into the live stream. I need to practice though. Don't get enough practice. Because I'll do a live stream on Wednesday night, like, and then instead of trying and mixing pictures in with the software, I'll switch it off for a week and then turn it back on at 5 to 8 the next week. And I'm not spending enough time familiarising myself with it, really. But I managed to get it working again. It's all right now. Who's his touchdown, Rob? The line. Is it Corda? Why is it called touchdown? Get Danny on for a live chat. Danny from Danny's Angling blog. He's here, mate, somewhere. He's gone quiet, but he is here. Right, okay, it's heavy. Right, there's and that's two. You're saying it's heavy there as well, so obviously it is. Dual screen. That's right, yeah. It's all right anyway. It seems to be working now, so I'll stick with it. When I was on a weedy mare a few years back, I was on ESP loaded in £18. That held up well. Never had any cut-offs, landed nearly everything. There you go. Straight from Will, who was on a weedy mare, £18 loaded. I know one of my mates has been fishing a weedy lake, like he's tried all sorts of lines, and he liked one of the Gardner ones. I can't remember what it's called though. I got some myself and hated it. I'll have to go to Google to tell you what line it is. You're due to reload this season. Yeah, that's another thing as well. I don't reload my reels every year. I think loaded light might be green mono. I'm not sure. GR60. No, it wasn't GR60. It was another one. Gardner lines. Oh look, it's in my search. I've obviously looked for it before. Specialist fishing line from Gardner Tackle. Main lines. Monofilament. Jesus Christ, he got so many of them. Hydro Tough. That's it. One of my mates swore by Gardner Hydro Tough. He'd had a couple of good seasons on a weedy lake with it, landing all his fish. He went off it because the syndicate he was on brought in a ruling about the diameter of your line rather than the breaking strain, and you weren't allowed to use any lines that were less than 0.38 of a millimetre. I think basically it's just another way of upping the breaking strain, but without, having people using thin lines, casting lines to get round it. so he was on Hydro Tough. He had to go on to something else. But I actually had some Hydro Tough, and it was the worst line I've ever used. And that's saying something. Now I tell a lie. Actually, it's there may be one worse, and that was Sensor. I don't know if any of you are fans of Sensor line. I would not put that on my reels ever again. Sensor, I found it broke far too easily. No abrasion resistance at all. Absolute pile of poo. So Sensor and Hydro Tough I would avoid. At the moment on mine I have Pro Blend, Gardner Pro Blend Light, or Pro Light Blend, and that seems to be pretty good. I've got that on in £15 and I've not had any trouble with it or any issues. It's quite cheap as well compared to the likes of GR60, but the Pro Light Blend has been good. I'm on a Weedy Mia, hopefully this year. Had my line on for 2 years and one reel. Yeah, I'd change it. 2 years is okay, but I wouldn't really want to go beyond that. What I do is I do a year, and then I'll reverse the line on my reels and do another year. So what was on underneath gets used a second year, like, and you find it's still in reasonably good condition. So I get 2 years in, and after that I'll change it. But I certainly don't change me, a new spool every year like a lot of people do. Try and make it, go as far as you can. Like Bald Eagle says, flip the line on the reel. Yeah, so what's being casted out is your backing. And your backing's obviously it's still in good nick because it's never been used. And if you're reversing it as well, obviously you've got the right amount of line on the reel already. So it's just like off onto another spool, and then back on again. That makes sense. Yeah, Terry Eustace lines are a good, Gizmo. I saw you coming before, Gizmo. All right, mate, welcome. Sorry I missed you there. But yeah, Terry Eustace is excellent. If I could find it, I would still be on Pro Clear, gold label tackle Pro Clear. I believe it went out of production for a while, and someone's told me it's coming back or is back, but I haven't seen any for sale. But Pro Clear is just awesome. One of the best casting lines out there. Very, very thin, but it's got good abrasion resistance as well. Like, I was using it for catching catfish in pads and all sorts, and it never broke, never let me down. So yeah, Terry Eustace lines, excellent. Oh yeah, for the left hand rod. Yeah. Ian's on ProLogic Mimicry Mirage XP in £15. That's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? ProLogic Mimicry Mirage XP. I've got to ask, what are all them names for? What's the XP mean when it's out? It's a bit of a mouthful for a line, that, isn't it? Research to do, yeah. Hard work to find Pro Clear now. Yeah, it is, Will, and it's such a shame. I left mine on as long as I could. Unfortunately, like, it's well, I think the £16 Pro Clear, I can't remember what it was. Was it 0.28 of a millimetre, something like that, for £16? It was thin, the Pro Clear. It was an awesome line to cast with. It was absolutely brilliant. I've done some of my longest casting with Pro Clear. I had to go onto Exocet, Fox Exocet, which is what Stu's using for me distance fishing now. But the Exocet's okay. It's not quite as good as Pro Clear in my opinion, but my casts aren't far off using Exocet. But it's a shame about the Pro Clear though, like, because it was so good. I don't understand why it went out of production. Like, they surely must have been selling loads of it. Yeah, 0.28 for £16. That's awesome, that, isn't it? I mean, you'd associate £16 lines with 0.38 or 0.34, at least 0.34. So it was good at low diameter. And like I said, I liked that line. But it also had abrasion resistance as well. Like, it didn't break easily, but it was so easy to cast with. Put yards and yards on your casts. I remember being on a water one day and having a mate with me. He's since passed away. Some of you might remember the manager, Ian the manager, on Northern Monkeys, Fishing Warehouse, places like that. And he was with me one day and he couldn't believe I gave him one of my rods to cast, like, and I had Pro Clear on, CI4 Ultegra reels and my Torix, and go on, have a cast with that, and he couldn't believe how light my setup was, and how I only needed to just flick it to reach the far bank. He said, oh my god. But it was a well-tuned setup like that. The Pro Clear just really helped with the casting. But for weedy lakes, yeah, I think that touchdown will probably be alright. Fanny Beararse uses it, doesn't he? I'm pretty sure I've watched his latest video, the one where he was on Gigantica in the winter, and I think he was using touchdown then, like, and he was catching fish at like £50 odd, something like that. I've got Grease Lightning, Rob, in my tackle box. I haven't used it for years. It does add a little bit, and it actually is supposed to recondition your mono as well. Like, if it's tired, it'll recoat it, and yeah, it does work to an extent, like, but eventually it washes off and wears down. But I've still got an old little bottle of it from the 1990s. That's how much I've used of it. I've still got the bottle left and it's still in my tackle box. So I don't actually use it. If I'm going to Gailey or somewhere like that, I've never got Grease Lightning with me. I just do my casts as they are, like. So, loving the buckwheat. Cheshire Particles got a deal on at the minute. That's good. Nice one, Ian. I shall get myself some when I can get out to the delivery place. I'm kind of staying away from anywhere and everywhere at the moment, mates, but once he let us out and I can go fishing, I shall go and get myself a sack of buckwheat from the Lawton livery. Speaking to Mark yesterday and he's saying he's been messing with it, and I like the sound of it. Well, that's what Ian's got, hemp and buckwheat mix, Danny. That's what he's got off Mark. So yeah, sounds good. He's not the only one that's been pushing that particle combination this year though, Danny. I saw an advert on Facebook for Carbon Baits, and they've been pushing buckwheat and hemp as well. In fact, theirs was buckwheat, hemp and maize all mixed together. I think it was in a jar or something like that. I can't remember. But it does seem to be, well, with at least two of the particle companies, Mark and Carbon Baits, the buckwheat seems to be popular this year. I will, Ian, yeah, I'll have a look in there, mate, and see how much it costs. I'm loath to get any bait in at the moment, like, because I've still got 2 sacks down here that I haven't used up. I need to get fishing properly, as in fishing and filming, so I can get them used. At the moment, I'm saving them. I don't want to use them up without making a film on them. So I've got 2 sacks here that need to go, and I'll get round to it eventually. But at the moment, I'm sat here twiddling my thumbs, aren't I? Because I can't get out. But yeah, buckwheat. I shall get myself a sack next time I'm at the delivery place, and I'm sure it's not going to be very expensive, mate. I know a sack of normal wheat is even cheaper than maize. I mean, maize is still what, £8.50 a sack, something like that. It may have gone up now with Brexit. I don't know. I've not been up to the delivery place this year, but yeah, I'll try the buckwheat. I'll let you know how much it costs, mate, and I'll produce a video on it, cook it up for you, and you can take it from there. Not all about filming, just go fishing. I only record 50% of my trips. Let's see, I go fishing about, I don't know how many times, it's 52 weeks in a year, isn't there? So maybe about 70 trips a year, something like that, Danny, and I'm lucky if I film like 3 of those. The fishing trips I film, mate, are more like, less than 5%. I don't know when I'm going to film again. It won't be until we're opened up, probably. Yeah, what are you keeping from us, Danny? What are you doing in the other half that you don't want us to see? Carp Jacker, all right, mate. I like that Titanic meme you posted on Instagram, mate. Those 2 blokes. I just had a feeling when I was watching it, and they were the pair of them were like this, that they were gonna go arse over tit and end up in the drink. Good one, that. Does people send you them? Yeah, sometimes you got to go for yourself. That's what fishing's for, isn't it? Going for yourself. I saw the thing you posted, Danny. I've seen a few other people posted as well earlier on today. Fishing, and is it stress? People who go fishing don't have any stress or something like that, or it was gonna. I've seen another one as well that's saying that doctors were gonna recommend it, give a prescription, a fishing prescription. And I thought, oh great, yeah. They can put the PA fees on prescription, and I'll pay £8 instead of 130. You get sent 80% of your clips. Yeah, I thought so. There's some crackers out there, like rods getting the woman with the rods getting knocked over by the boat is funny. I've seen that on Facebook loads of times. Saved your life this lockdown. Yeah, it's probably has for a lot of people, Danny, who can still go. It's mental health. Yeah. I'm kind of like locked in the same Groundhog Day situation at the moment. Like, get up, go to work, put the laptop away, sit here watching telly, blah 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 blah, go out for a walk, and repeat the next day, and it's the same over and over and over and over again. The only thing I've got that's broken the routine this week is bills. So I've got a gas and electric bill to pay, which means a trip to the post office and a quarterly council tax bill. So there you go. That's my difference for the week. Oh great, something different's happened. I've got 2 bills to pay. Got things to do. Cheers, Carp Jacker. Stay safe yourself, mate. I go now, but not the same fishing as I would be doing. You have to adapt. Yeah, you do. Sunday, new venue for pike. Never seen the place. Always good to try somewhere new, mate. Bills don't catch COVID. No, they don't, Will, unfortunately. I wished he did. Yeah, pick your venues, be as safe as you can be. I haven't got any venues to pick, really, Danny, apart from a couple of local day ticket waters. And I don't think you were here before when I explained that I've already spent about 520 quid on tickets this year. And I don't want to pay for day tickets as well as that. So I'm kind of like stuck in at the moment. Like Bald Eagle says, jail without bars, isn't it? Pretty much. But it's not going to be forever. I mean, we're up to the 10th of February now, and we'll have a review within 2 weeks. So, you know, a fortnight today we'll be sitting here, and hopefully something will have changed. I believe the infection rates are falling. Probably not as fast as you want, like, but you know, I keep hearing our numbers under 1 and infections are coming down, but there does seem to be still a lot of people dying, and oh, you know, as well as that, like they're saying, well, you know, this many million people have been vaccinated and stuff like that. So I don't know, maybe they'll let us out soon. Can't wait to go, but I've a sneaking suspicion once they do let us out, I'm going to be on a lake. And I will literally be taking the last peg because it'll be full. That's what I'm expecting. Bailiff on Belmont, so you know it's going to be quiet. Yeah, well, there's not many people can go there, is there, because of the distance. If it's local to you, you're all right, Danny. You know, you can go there. Or you can do your bailiff duties and get round it that way. But to everybody else, mate, we can't go anywhere. You'd have been on the river. Yeah. They're not going to let you up to the Ribble, mate. Not until the travel restrictions are lifted. Like, you're probably taking a bit of a gamble there. And they do seem to be dishing out a lot of fines as well, don't they? I was reading on, I think it was on the news the other day, there was a gym in Speke in Liverpool and it was open and people were going in there and working out. And they padlocked all the fire doors and kept people in there when the police came round the fronts. I think they got the book thrown at them for that, and rightly so. Yeah, you're not the only one to give up on France. I don't think that's going to happen much this year, Will. You know, the travel restrictions are going to be on. If you come back into the country from France, you've got to spend, is it a fortnight in a hotel at a cost of 1,750 quid, isolating and being tested before you can go anywhere. So there's literally no point in going, mate. I know a lot of people who go to France, and some of them go 2, 3, 4 times a year as holidays, and they've all ditched it since Brexit. Most of them, when they heard that they couldn't take boilies in any quantity, so you know, they're worried about prices being charged by the companies who run the lakes. You know, a lot of them like, oh, you can only use our bait anyway, which is not right. And obviously they're going to ratchet up the price to skim more money off you. So, you know, it's it's understandable people aren't going anymore. I know a few people who were going to be joining Will on is it the retreat? That's the Trout Lake, isn't it? Will, the retreat, day ticket water. I know a few people who've booked sessions on there rather than go France. So one or two river blogs saved up. Yeah, you'll be all right then, as long as you can still put them out. Coming up to the river close season anyway, Danny, in another month from now, there'll only be a few days left. The approach that I don't know where I got the retreat from. I've got a memory like a sieve. Gives me some cash now to spend on other stuff. Yeah, it does, yeah. Ex-police officer was in there calling them all kinds. What's that, bald eagle? He was in there working out, or he was on the telly giving them loads. I'm not sure what you mean there. Just going to go somewhere over here and then travel around. And there's a few waters that have got like 50s and 60s in nowadays on a day ticket, isn't there? There's a the approach is one, like there's a few others as well. I know they're well booked up, but you can, quite often get a session on there or a cancellation. So there's always somewhere to go. If in doubt, head to Linear. I was watching whatchamacallit the other day. Who's that fella who fishes for Fox? 99.30s in a year. 99.30s in a year of fishing. Tom Maker, is it? I think that was his name. What a year that is. And I think the majority of them came from Linear. Rivers will shut and be open again before they let us out. Do you reckon, Gizmo? I think they might shut, or you might get the last week on the rivers, but I think we'll be out before they open again, for sure. I certainly will be. There will come a time in the spring, when it's starting to get really mild, and I will redraw the line on what I class as local. And I'll redraw it to suit myself. Open all on the 8th of March. Well, I'm kind of hoping they do, Danny, to be honest. 8th of March would suit me. It's 4 weeks from now. And I've got 2 weeks off in March. And one is the week of the 8th. So Monday the 8th to, is it the 12th? Friday the 12th, something like that. And then another week on the 22nd of March, because I didn't use all my week's holiday in the summer. I was working. I had a few weeks off here and there, but basically I was working from home anyway. So I just kind of carried on working, and I was fishing Wednesday evening after work instead of doing these live streams. I was going to the lake, and then I'd go again on Saturday. So I was fishing Wednesdays and Saturdays every week through the summer, and I didn't need a day off. I didn't need a week off or anything like that. So I didn't have that many, and I've ended up with loads left, and I'm having to take time before I lose it in April. So I've got 2 weeks off in March. So the 8th will suit me nicely. I'm kind of crossing my fingers to open before then, but the 8th will be fine. Yeah, conveniently coming down the rates. They are, yeah. Well, that's because we're in lockdown, mate. That's what happens when you lock everybody down. The rates drop. A lot of us have been vaccinated now as well. I know they're still working through a few over 60s and 70s and stuff like that, and then the 50s will be next. They vaccinated most of the vulnerable age groups, because as you get younger, I think you're more likely to survive it. But they're certainly working their way through them, and at quite a rate as well. I think about 300,000 people a day are getting their jabs, which is fantastic. I tell you what, we're miles ahead of the European Union and everybody else. Literally, we're doing brilliantly as a country. So let's just hope the vaccinations work. She was working out in the gym, was she? Right, okay. She was making out in the gym. Or working out in the gym. Or her name was Making. That's quite funny, that. Was it ex-police officer, you said? That's ridiculous, isn't it? Hopefully she'll get fined along with everybody else. Lads up here going down south fishing openly. Yeah, I can imagine that there is. I set my boundaries of local, Danny, as within, like 5 to 7 miles. Originally I had it at 5, and then Boris got caught on his bike at 7 miles, so anywhere within 7 miles is okay with me, which is most of the Wirral, but there's nothing much here to fish, to be honest, so I've not bothered. Like I said, I don't want to pay the day rates anyway. I will redraw my boundaries as local if once we get to March. Trent's a 2-hour drive. Yeah, that's too far, innit? They're not going to let you get away with that, mate. It's a fair crack, the Trent. Like, if it was nearer, I'd fish there myself, because it's as a big fish river, the Trent is awesome. You've got some huge barbel in there, and carp, and everything else as well. Just about everything grows big in the Trent, and you never know what you're going to pick up on that tidal stretch. Awesome. But it's even without lockdown, 2 hours is too far for me. 99.30s he had, bald eagle making. I was watching it the other day, like, it was incredible. That's a hell of a season, that. But most of them came from linear fisheries, from their lakes, because they've got so many 30s in there these days. You must pass 4 PA waters on the way to work. I would say you pass more than that, Rob. I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can think of at least 8 off the top of my head, mate. 9. 9 at least, minimum. Or, well, maybe not past them, but certainly within striking distance of where you work. You could technically fish any of them, like, because they'd be on the way home. Yeah, the weather's awful, innit? I'm fed up with the cold. I get in this room in the morning and I put the fire on, and I close the door to get the heat up, like, put the central heating on, and I can't get warm. I'm working here and my hands are freezing cold, and my feet are cold. I'm okay within myself, like, but my hands and my feet are freezing, and I just can't get on with it. Just fed up. Yeah, there is, Rob. There's quite a few routes into Wilmslow that you can kind of, like, detour. Short detour gets you to quite a lot of places. Like, I'd say at least 9 that I can think of off the top of my head. Pets, most of them he catches. Yeah, well, he's fished there for a lot of years, hasn't he? And he knows those lakes inside and out. So he's going to catch a lot of fish. But, 99.30s in a season. Who's had that before? I can remember years ago reading Carp Fever with Kevin Maddox. and he caught 430s from 4 different waters. And back in them days, that was like unimaginable. And look at it now. Collingham Weir, Gizmo, yeah. I've got a mate who's fished there. Apparently, I think there's a syndicate on there, isn't there, at Collingham? And his mate took him on as a guest. Like, he had, I think, 5 barbel, 3 of them were doubles, and the other 2 were over 9. Yeah, Collingham. Very well known place. Well, I don't think you're going to be doing much fishing tomorrow, Danny, not the way the temperatures are, and they're with us for the rest of the week as well, according to the weather forecast. I don't think there's going to be a thaw in time. It remains to be seen, like, but I don't know, I think you might struggle, mate. Cold hands and feet drives you mad. Yeah, well, I'm at home, Will. I mean, I'm working from home in my own house, and I still can't get warm. I don't think the central heating's that good. I know it's set to, like, you know, keep the house at 70 degrees, but it never gets there. It just never gets there when it's cold like this. It's always like not enough. And I've got a little electric fire here as well, like I have to put that on as well. So God knows what the bill's going to be like. I'll have to wait and see about that. I've got gas and electric bill here, like, but it's not for this place. Paul Hodgson, evening mate. Looks better for next week. I hope so, Paul. I'll just be glad to get rid of the cold weather, to be honest, and you know, go back to something a bit milder and more comfortable. Warmer temps brings the rain. Yep. Flooding. Or even snow. It has a tendency of snowing when it warms up, doesn't it? It's tried to snow here a few times, like virtually every day. There's been a few flakes falling, like, but it never amounts to anything. But it has tried a few times to snow. 3 Lakes at Selby. Crikey, I haven't been there in 20 years. 3 Lakes. I've fished there. I only went twice, but I did manage at 25.5 out of there. 3 Lakes. Bit of a hike, to be honest, for me, like over that way. All motorway over the Pennines, just pain in the arse to get to. Rather freeze me balls off than fish flooded waters. Yeah, I quite agree with that. Don't like floods at all. Stay right away from them these days. Right, you're off. Sort the gear. Have all options ready for 6 o'clock tomorrow. See what meets me. Yeah, good luck with that, Danny. I just hope the water's bendy for you, mate, and not frozen. Yeah, well, not for me, Paul. I reckon it's going to be another 4 weeks, mate. I don't really know where we are at the moment. Like, we're waiting for this review, aren't we? If he reviews in a fortnight and then tells us when we can start going, that's fine. But if we lift some restrictions straight away, so I can just travel a bit further, that'll do me. Until then, like, I'll sit where I am. I'm expecting another month to be before I can go again. We seem to be focused on the 8th of March because that's when he's letting schools go back, or some of them. I think it was the juniors, wasn't it? So I'm hoping that when they go back, that's the end of the restrictions for us on how far we can travel. No, they're not the best, are they? And that's the problem. They're not the best round here either. Going to walk the dogs, bald eagle. Yeah, okay, mate. Cheers. Tight lines. I think I'm only going to be another few minutes anyway. Like, it's 9:25 already. and usually I only do till they're supposed to be an hour long, and this one's been running for nearly an hour and a half already. So granted, it was frozen for a while, but hey ho, managed to get it working again, and I know what to do next time if it freezes. I've got half an idea. So yeah, hopefully it won't happen again. Right, who's still here then? So Danny's gone, Paul's gone, Bald Eagle's gone. Cheers, lads. Oh dear. It does actually seem like a good time to wrap it up, doesn't it? I could do with a brew. My cup's empty. You've been working 6 days a week, Will? No, it was just before the lockdown. My last session, mate, 30th of December. I had a day session and blanked, and the lake was half frozen anyway. I was just basically there just to get a few hours fresh air, I think, over Christmas. What's the score, Ian? We resigned as champions in the week against Man City. Woeful defending, no central defence at all. Woeful defending gave them 4-1 win at Anfield. I think we've just resigned as champions that day, and I can't see us catching Man City now, to be honest. We need a central defence, and until Virgil's back, I don't think we're going to do very well. But hey ho, at least we got there. Yeah, what's the score with Everton? Are you losing? Yeah, what a few months it's been. You were top of the league. You had your little week or two when you were ahead of us, and you actually thought you were going to do well. 3-2 to Everton. Right, okay. Kabak. Yeah, you think he'll start against Leicester? I'm not so sure. He put him on the bench, didn't he, Rob, the other day? But I suppose you do need him. The question is, can he lead the defence? You know, he's only he's been bought, just arrived, and to stick him in there and expect him to lead the defence might be a bit much. And you know, I mean, they've had a couple of midfielders in there against Man City, so I blame Everton, mate, because it was in the Derby game when the Van Dijk got injured, and it was an awful tackle, and you know, you're never going to convince me that wasn't on purpose. When you look at it, it was a terrible tackle, like, and I blame the Blues. Yeah, Hendo or Fab until he finds his feet. Yeah, well, they were the two that were in there, weren't they? And they weren't exactly great, let's be honest. Although I must admit, you know, those goals in the second half, the keeper was to blame for quite a few of them. And of course, once you go behind and you're chasing the game, it's always harder. You know, you're always going to leave holes at the back and that. So it's just one of those things. We'll be back. Klopp's not a consistent manager, is he? He's not going, like Pep. He's going to be there challenging every year. He seems to go in cycles. I think when he was with Dortmund, he won the title twice in 5 years. And on the years he didn't win it, sometimes, you know, he'd always be in the top 5, but sometimes he wasn't doing that well. And you know, he tweaks and he tinkers and he gets things right again, and then they come on. But you generally find I think that's more because he doesn't get the best players. He gets the best out of the players, but you know, if you want quality, you've got to pay for it. And Pep's got a golden checkbook from his rich Arabs, and Liverpool haven't. So they have to get the best out of the players they've got. So he generally tends to go in cycles. He won't win it every year, but if he can manage 2 in 5, that would be great. That makes sense. He tends to get to a lot of finals and lose as well, which he did with. I think he did that with Dortmund as well as he's lost a few. Liverpool lost a few finals like before he won one. Yeah, I think they're good enough for top 4, mate. But it's wide, like you say, it's wide open without the fans in. I don't think Liverpool would have lost them games if the fans had been there, because they wouldn't have let them. Do you know what I mean? If they're not playing well and not doing well and they're losing, the crowd will either give it in the neck and have a go at them, or they'll get behind them and raise them up. But with nobody there, no atmosphere, like it's just like a training game, innit? I think football without a crowd is crap. They should be paying the fans to go in there, not the other way around. Game's a waste of space without fans. Just top in form. No, they're top by a mile, Will. They're just they're literally walking away with it. They haven't lost a game in ages, and they're so far clear now. No one's going to catch them. Yeah, that's it. Home games aren't home games with no fans. Yeah, that's right. I think Liverpool above all miss the fans, like, because it's a special atmosphere. Ian was sending me pictures before, by the way, about some of the clothes he's bought. He's been he bought himself a Jack Pike fleece, a Jack Pike fleece, and a Jack Pike hat. I think the fleece was 21 quid and the hat was a £5, which is quite cheap for Jack Pike stuff, considering it's a recognised decent brand for clothing, fishing clothing. 21 quid for the fleece and a £5 for the hat. Not sure where he got them from, like, but he sent us pictures of the stuff he's bought, so hopefully he'll be warm in them. Just a pity he's an Everton supporter, isn't it? Who are you playing, by the way, Ian? Is it a cup game or a league game? There seems to be a lot of FA Cup stuff going on this week, doesn't there? Right. I think we'll call it a day anyway, lads. It's 9:30, gone 9:30. So I've had a good innings with this one. Okay, there's a bit of freezing in there. It's not going to make for great watching, especially on the playback. But it was all right. You could hear me still, and my little mixer, I managed to get going in the end. So I've learned something today. Everton's a cup game. Cheers, Will. Yeah, it's not on the telly anyway. I checked before, like, to see what was on, because I know Man United was live last night against West Ham, wasn't it? I watched that. Disappointing. Spurs. Oh, right, okay. You beating Spurs? Not bad. And in the cup as well. Usually they do well in the cup. That's a good result, mate. Maybe you managed to get through it. Right. Call it a day, shall we? I'll say cheers. Thanks for popping in, guys. Ian, Will, Rob. Everybody else has gone, hasn't he? Bald Eagle and all that's all already gone, so I shall free. Spoke too soon. Never mind, Ian. Yeah, cheers, Will. Thanks, mate. And I'll speak to you soon. Ian, Rob, Thanks, guys. I'll put my phone up and I'll say, Gizmo. Yeah, Gizmo. And you, mate. Paul Hodgson. Danny's gone, hasn't he? Most of the others have gone, like, so I won't go through the name checks like I normally do. I'll just say cheers. And I'll catch you all next week. Later. End the stream. See ya.